what is your top daily success habit that you've developed between when you started up and now? How did you discover it, and why is it important to your business? And Bob, I'm going to pick on you first.
Okay, well, my daily success habit that I've picked up on since I was still in the classroom is actually using, can anybody guess, mind maps. I know, Shannon Perry especially is a big fan of this, I know, but to each their own. And I just love the ability for me to put down on a computer screen specific tasks that need to happen, organize and categorize what needs to be done in a particular order, and then closing down like 90% of the map as to be done later, and that can help me focus 100% of my energy and attention on that one set of steps that need to be done today. And I've been doing that for a long time now. I do teach on it quite a bit, but I just find that through product creation, project management, and even outsourcing, the ability to use mind maps or any system that lets you have your tasks in that kind of prioritized order can do wonders for getting more things done in less time and with a lot less effort.
Excellent. Do you use a specific software for that?
I do. I use software called FreeMind, and I like the cost of that as well. Although I do think things are worth paying for when they're worth paying for. Sometimes free is good. FreeMind is one of those free resources that I've been using that has revolutionized my business, really has.
Excellent. So this is really a great time management tool.
Absolutely. And it's a time management tool and it's a focus tool because we get distracted. We're entrepreneurs, right? We get ideas. And I don't want anybody to feel like they can't have more ideas just because they don't want to get distracted. So using a mind map, it helps me to focus on the idea I'm working on right now. And if I get a new idea, I can put it into a different area of my map that I can work on at another time and feel like I can still address it later, but I can focus my attention on what needs to be done today.
Excellent. So, Shannon, what is a success habit that you developed from the time you started up to now? I mean, something that maybe changed your business and
well,
really...
I can tell you, Janice, it's not mind maps. Bob and I have this ongoing little feud about mind maps, and you'll hear this talk about this at Radiant Success because when he mentions mind maps, I roll my eyes because to me they're very chaotic. Although Bob will say, because he knows how I'm such a planner and organizer, and that's my key, is that I create my own mind map, but it's a list. A list is a form of a mind map. There, Bob, are you happy now? But there you go. But the thing is, I admit it. I create a mind map, and it's hard for me to say, but it's a list. And what I do is I know I have a marketing plan for 6 months, and I know from day to day what I'm doing and where I'm promoting it. So it's not, fly by the seat of your pants. I can tell you next week, the week after, and 2 months from now what I'll be promoting and what techniques I'll be using to promote it. And that way I can just look at my list of what I have to get done, and it's done. That's mine.
Excellent.
And I've always done that.
So really, two excellent ideas for time management, which is such a huge issue because people sit in front of their computer when they're starting out and they just don't know where to focus their time. So those are both great. Felicia, what about you? Is it something different for you or is it similar?
No, not. Actually, mine's vastly different. I always remember in any of my activities, anything that I'm doing, any of my decision making, I always remember, why did I start my business? And I run my decisions up that flagpole. And for me, it was so that I could be home and take care of my kids and be a mom to my girls, who, when I started, were 1 and 3 years old. And now they are 6 and 8 in kindergarten and third grade. And so, if a field trip permission slip comes home and I had something scheduled that I was supposed to do that day for work, guess what gets rescheduled? Not the field trip. And the reason why is, and this is, I think, an important lesson for everybody, because especially in the earlier stages of your business, it's easy to be sitting at your computer and working 16, 18 hours a day, being totally bogged down in that, and to forget why did you start this whole thing to begin with? Build your business around your lifestyle. Don't run your lifestyle around your business. Don't let your business dictate your life. You've got to remember, why did you start this thing? And all of us, every single one of us, we all start our businesses for different reasons. And so, you listening at home, why did you start your business? And run every decision, every thing that you do past that barometer, and it really helps you to focus and decide what things are going to be right for you and what things you want to pass up. So when I look at events like Radiant Success and and speaking at events like that, I really think, okay, is this something that, is important enough to take me away from my kids and my family? That's a big deal for me to do that. I don't travel that much for that specific reason. And so when I do, I make sure that it's really going to be at an event that is in full alignment with my values and with my message that I have to share with folks, and it allows me to serve the greatest number of people. So that's what I do, and differently than both Shannon and Bob.
I really love that, Felicia, and I'm going to chime in and pick up on that because I am all about a lifestyle business. I mean, that's what I help people do, develop a lifestyle business. But one thing I have developed is that I do have somewhat specific work hours. And I often see business owners that are too unscheduled with their work hours, so they really don't get enough hours in. But here's what I tell people: schedule your work hours around your life, just like you do. If you've got to go pick the kids up at 3 o'clock and you can't work from 3 to 5, fine, you don't work from 3 to 5. So I'm not talking about a 9 to 5 schedule, but I'm talking about blocks of time where you are not disturbed, you're uninterrupted, and they can be devoted to your work. And for me, these are some other success habits that I've developed. It's extremely important for me to exercise, because I just don't have the same energy if I don't. It's important for me to have spiritual time. I meditate because that's where I get my best ideas, and it helps me maintain clarity and stay calm and not get stressed. It's important for me to have downtime, time to spend with my daughter. So my work, I keep that in mind, as Felicia does. And I do somewhat what Shannon and Bob do. I do priority-based time management, so I'm careful about planning in advance. I have a calendar planned out for the year for the most part, and I use my time based on that plan. And honestly, I mean, when I started my coaching business, I used to be a little bit less disciplined about this, and I used to be less focused. And I've learned this time effectiveness system that I use. I really get twice as much done, and I have a lot more time. So I can plan my week easily. I'm not sitting there in front of my computer wondering what I'm going to be doing, scratching my head and thinking, what do I do next? And that planning ahead, as Bob mentioned, it was Shannon that mentioned it, it really helps you know what you're going to do every day when you sit down. Because I think working in a home-based office, which most of us do, it's easy to get distracted with phone calls or the doorbell ringing or some family member interrupts you. You really have to have that specific time that's your work time, and nobody disturbs you during that time. So I think for me it's around managing my time and then having those success habits that keep me mentally and physically in good shape too. That was the big breakthrough. So what about you, Adela?
Well, I do a little combo here. I plan out on calendars. I'm also a big one for mind maps because I just find that I'm a writer too. So it's almost not even important what I write, because lots of times I'll write on little Post-it notes, and my desk will look like a madhouse sometimes, because I'll have little notes here. I've got one notebook over here, then I got a yellow notebook, then I've got these big poster-sized Post-its on my walls. But what I do is I plan, but I leave lots of big gaps with space, because I do the, following my creative flow. I follow the energy. Sometimes, like Marnie was saying earlier, an idea can hit you and then you'll go like gangbusters and then all of a sudden it peters out, And so if the energy doesn't flow for me with something where I actually go from start to completion with an idea, I'll just move on to the next thing. So I like leaving space and then also, have a little bit of structure so that I'm always in movement. So I like some structure and then some free flow kind of space so that I can move with my projects.
That's really interesting. That's very interesting. It's a very interesting idea. Okay, Marnie, what about you? Because you always amaze me because you've got so much on your plate, but you still manage to be phenomenally successful.
Well, there's a couple things to it. I'm a recovering workaholic, so I had to learn to get off the rat wheel. A lot of times you stay busy with unimportant tasks. You feel like you're being busy and you're working in your business or whatever, but the biggest shift came for me when I stopped and realized if you want to get off the rat wheel, you got to be still for a little bit. And so I started taking what I call bliss breaks throughout the day. Just little segments. I'll go play my favorite piece of piano music, or I'll go out in the garden and work, or I'll go for a walk. Kind of like create a state change in what I'm doing so that my brain can take a step back and go from being in that detail mode into an aerial vision of what I'm doing. And then I can say, oh, wait a minute, I need to shift and do this over here if I'm going to go toward my big vision. And I do a lot like what Adela was saying. I work very much with my moods and where the energy's flowing. I'm very conscious of what I'm excited about in that moment. And like I said, I'll keep track of what projects and ideas I have, but instead of wasting time, I think a lot of people waste their time in indecision about what to do next. I'll get really clear on, okay, I'm going to go in this direction. That's the one where my energy's flowing, and I'll put my energy there until it sort of peters, and then I'll go over and push another idea forward. And so it keeps me from getting bored, because I tend to get bored. I hope that.
So you're kind of managing your energy, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you don't do that, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really great. And I think, Adela, really, you're saying the same thing in essence.
Mm-hmm.
You're managing your energy because our physical energy and our time energy is finite. It's limited. So if you don't manage it, you're lost.